Now then, sit down, Colt. Dr. Furnius patted a leather-covered short stool. Why are you so calm? Colt asked. Dr. Furnius pulled out tweezers and a cloth from a bag. I know Henry. He will be all right. He's been through a lot, but he will be all right. Taking out the piece of glass, blood trickled from Colt's hand. Dr. Furnius put the glass shard in a metal tray, then wiped at the blood with the cloth, placing it on the silver tray. Not that bad. 5 stitches will do the trick. With that, he looked to Colt. Can't talk you into lidocaine? Just sew it up, Doc. Very well. You herds people are so stubborn. I watched as Dr. Furnius nimbly sewed the cut up. Now then, I'll wash up and clean up with T here, and you and Vita go with Mila to check on Henry. I'll be along directly. My legs have seemed to lock up on me. Funny thing, hands as stable as in my prime, but a little run and my legs are useless. You rest here, we won't be far off, I spoke to him. Colt, I could tell, was not in the mood for small talk with the good doctor. Furnius nodded his head as he began to talk to T as she started to help clean up. What are you going to do? I asked Colt, but before he could answer, T exited. The doctor is resting now. Have you decided, Vita, on your procedure? I'll do it, I said firmly. Colt didn't even question with his eyes. His eyes were calm and understanding. I was brought to room 15 as T started to prep things. This is Phyllis, or so I call her. She is our plasma collecting machine in less medical terms, T smiled. Please sit down, Vita. This will take about 45 minutes or so, depending. I'm sure you want an update on Henry. Mila says Dr. Threepwood has revived Henry's heart, and he is stable at the moment. That is good to hear, I let out a breath. Do you still want to do this? She asked, concerned, but I looked to her, letting out a sigh of relief. Yes. All right, well, sit back and relax and let me do the rest. May I ask why you decided to do it, just out of my own personal curiosity? Colt was standing by me. Curiosity can get a cat killed. T smiled back, rubbing my arm with the liquid. Well, it's good I'm not a cat, then. I looked to Colt, then to T. I really can't say why. I shouldn't at this point. If it is going to help Henry, then I should do this for him. If other plans were made to do something with Henry afterwards or use the nanos against us, I know we will have to overcome it eventually. But I want Henry to live, though I can't tell you why, other than he is a friend. Well, that's very admirable. There's many that bring friends here that do much less in helping when asked, so I commend you for it, though you don't have to worry. We just want to help Henry get well. I sat in a comfortable chair that laid back slightly. T took the time to wash my face and arms completely. I could tell her touch was a gentle one. Afterwards, a needle was inserted into a vein in my arm. T administered anticoagulant to prevent blood from clotting. As she explained each step, the blood flowed through a machine she called Phyllis that separated the plasma from the other blood components according to T. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, whatever all that is. The yellow color plasma was collected in a bag. Then she gave me some saline to help and a warmed blanket. She gave the bag to someone immediately she had called for, and they rushed it off. My wife did her part, but if Henry is stable, I'd like to talk to him before my decision. T looked confused. Stable doesn't necessarily mean aware, but Dr. Meal has informed me Dr. Threepwood would personally like to speak with you. I'm sure he will know more about Henry's condition than I can offer. After another 20 minutes, I was allowed to stand, and I felt fine considering. We went into the hall as T went to check on Dr. Furnius. Meal came to us. Dr. Threepwood is waiting in his office. I'd like to see Henry first, Colt informed her. I would, except Henry is in a sterile room. It could make him deathly ill if germs were to get to him, and I am afraid he isn't awake just yet. As soon as he is, I can let you know he's in good hands. I knew they wouldn't let us see him no matter what we said or did, so I looked to Mila. Tell Threepwood to keep it quick, then. Meal nodded. He heard, and he agrees. We followed her to another elevator. Clearly older in maintenance needs. This elevator leads to his office. I shall come with you. She put her key card up to the screen, and the elevator opened. As we entered, there was only one button on the wall with a G3 on it. Miela pushed it, and the doors slowly closed. We entered the deepest layers of the hospital. Dr. Miela smiled as the doors opened. It was dark and made of rock. The lighting was sickeningly dark colors. This is where Dr. Threepwood presides. It pleases him greatly that you will meet with him. please. I know he resembles what you may have once feared, but you have no need to fear death here, so please give him a chance. He was very much the one that oversaw Henry's surgery, and the very reason he lives." Colt stiffened as he looked to Dr. Meal. "There's always something hidden, isn't there?" "Because more than likely a cat is a cat no matter how much it looks like a dog. But I'll be the judge of my opinion. Let's get it out in the open then." "Very well spoken, Colt." An odd, deep metallic voice spoke out from the shadows of the dark stone room. A very tall, lanky creature of a man came forward, its metal fingers long and shimmering, its lanky, muscle-free, suited body walking smooth as silk upon glass. More importantly, its head was no human to hardly any degree. It looked so indescribable, but to the best my mind can make out, it looked like a deer made into a sewed-up toy of some sort, its eyes a sickening blue light. Like in Mila's office, it made me realize that this thing must have been watching us the whole tour by the blue lights. They weren't lights at all, but eyes. Something made me more fearful than Harlt's ever did, and I had no idea why, but I had a feeling it wouldn't take long to find out. "Please excuse today's appearance. I did so want to look presentable, but I'm always on call, and it just wasn't feasible, but I'm sure you understand such matters. As Dr. Mila said earlier, I will continue your tour. She must get back to her surgical duties. I hope I will be adequate enough to answer further questions and be of good company." Colt was still and quiet, looking him up and down, barely breathing as if assessing him. Down into his deep mechanical being, still staring, Colt finally spoke. "This is what you were hiding? I was expecting more." "Be off, Dr. Meal. I have put you behind schedule as I often do." Dr. Threepwood chuckled. Meal walked off in silence without even a farewell. She looked almost embarrassed for some reason. "Now then, this next room we are about to enter. I must implore you not to touch anything. Colt, I know you don't follow direction well when it comes to ones like me, but you must understand to disobey will cause many great deaths that could have been prevented, and in this form I have no strength or ability to stop you. I tell you this up front, not for you to trust me, but for you to understand me." "What exactly are you?" I finally managed to ask. "Oh, my dear Vita, I see the fear in your eyes. Please, I will not cause you or anyone any harm. Perhaps if we spare a moment to tell you my story. You see, where to begin?" He paused for a long moment. "Well, I should say this all started many, many years before any of you were born, even your Dr. Furnius. I grew up when the Harlt's company had just begun their killings, a young lad on the water. I could feel something was wrong or missing. I really couldn't tell you even to this day the feeling I carried back then. Many were spared that would not be spared in the so-close future once Harlt's learned more. To begin with, I was given a simple job of plumbing, but I was often sent to mechanics to fix what they could not. I was always a tinker of sorts, even as a young boy. But others started to resist the water, as was I, and we revolted against our park. It was all a flurry of fires, smoke, and wires. Not to take the limelight, but it was my hands that made it capable of stopping our town's Harlts. Many were injured, some beyond natural repair, and that is when I found my calling to be a doctor, starting with myself. My hands were so badly damaged there was no saving them, so I commanded my first surgery upon myself. Through the years, once supplies became more plentiful, I would upgrade them to what you see today." He paused again, putting his hand up toward the dark lighting. Seeming to marvel at his hand's movements, shaking himself from his thoughts, he continued with a cough, though his stitched lips never moved. "I could save so many with my upgrades that otherwise would perish way before their times." He lowered his voice to a stop because Colt interrupted. "And that head of yours, was that an upgrade too?" The doctor put his head down in a slight sigh. "Yes, well, the town grew to see me as its leader, and so I led for many, many, many years. But the body grows old. You could say young blood in an old container. Many offered me their bodies to be my own, but I refused. I was not placed here to harm a living soul. I am here to preserve life, and it worked for a time to replace this and that with metal as I so needed. But there comes a time when cells break down beyond even the most extensive repairs. In short, my body was dying whether I liked it or not. So I took what was left of my memories and knowledge and placed them in a computer that summed them into a chip. And then the real work began, of finding a way to move my consciousness fully into a usable state. I found animals are the best choice, since I didn't want to be just a robot, but something that could be perceived as living. But even they began to rot, since I am not compatible. There have been a few successes in the past, though we cannot conclude why they worked. Testing showed us nothing. Now, with clearer vision, I knew I could help others live forever. No one would have to lose loved ones or forget very much needed knowledge. That is why our hospital grows each moment. It's like a hive full of life, constantly learning how to be better, how to help others. Colt crossed his arms, standing taller now. I must say I find some lies in your story. If you tell me what you think you know, then I will try to clarify it. Or silver-tongue it, Colt said with a smirked gaze. The horse Harltz had in our town was similar to you. He said he was made in this town and sent to Harltz. Half memories of being a man and half memories of a horse, while some memories wiped altogether. The doctor cocked his head slightly. I can clarify that we did indeed make a unicorn much like a horse specimen many years ago, but it was not for any Harltz use. It was stolen by someone by night, being we have little connection to the outside world. When we finally heard of it, the poor thing was beyond our... Again with the lies. Colt's arms were untucked. Now I could see fire raging in his eyes. I followed by preparing myself for what was to come. Colt pulled from his side his knife, twirling it in his hand. He ran, his strange-looking mess of parts, as it began to stammer backwards, putting its hands up. Colt took no time to slash, but instead began to stab hard, fast, and deep, until the pile stopped moving. His brow sweated, looking at me like a hungry wolf, then straightened himself to resting in a crouch. "How did you know he was still lying?" I asked, going to him as he stood kicking at it. The horse was made long before the killings began. He himself said he was only around from the time the killings began as a kid. What do you think it means? It means a few things. One is, these things can lie. 2, there's someone older controlling this place. And 3, we need to find them and find out the truth, if that's even possible. And 4, we need to get to Henry. I looked down at the pile of rot and metal. I'm not one to trust this thing still isn't alive. I looked up to the blue lights. Colt, I think those aren't just lights or sanitizers. I think they're cameras. Colt looked at them. Then with a word, threw his knife up as the light shattered into specks of dancing lights that hit the cement floor with a ting. The knife fell to the ground. Colt picked it up, looking around. We saw a door behind where the creature had stood. Colt cut the head from the pile of the entangled body of pus and metals. Come on, I imagine whatever is around will send for help, probably on their way. We went to the door and it was locked at first try, but then it unlocked with a click. We looked to each other as Colt huffed under his breath. Cocky thing. We finally came to a room. Waiting for us was a calm Dr. Mila. Dr. Furnius was with her, looking quite out of sorts, and T, who herself looked worried and confused. Henry was behind a pane-glass room, lying still. His scarred chest bare and orange in color. He was not moving, but we could see him breathing. Many tubes were in his body, some filled with colorful liquids, others empty,